Hello, friends. This is Nelson Furtado, and welcome to Friends on the Journey.
Hey, friends, my name is Nelson Furtado. I'm one of the pastors at West Point First United Methodist Church, and it's a pleasure for me to come to you this day to have a conversation with one of my good friends. As you know, there's a lot going on with COVID-19, the kind of um, shelter in place, restrictions being lifted, but churches are still kind of in this place where we're returning, not quite, slowly. There's a lot going on in our country just this week, so there are a lot of reasons to be stressed. There's a lot of stress going on, and I want to invite one of my good friends, Miss Summer Moon, to talk to us about stress. Summer is wrapping up her last year in a master's program in mental health at Lagrange College. And so I'm gonna invite her to come and talk to us a little about this. Hey, Summer, how are you today?
Good. How are you doing, Nelson?
Doing really good. Thank you very much for being here, for your willingness to have this conversation with us. So let me kick off with this conversation, asking you to define or to speak a little about stress and what is stress.
Stress is your body's physical or emotional reaction to tension. So if you are faced with a challenging event, it is that physical reaction you're having or your emotional reaction that you're having.
Oh, good. And so in this time and this season, we're seeing a lot of signs of stress, or a lot of there are different ways, I guess, that people are expressing or manifesting stress. So what are some of the signs of stress, or how can we notice that people are under stress?
And there are many different signs. There's both physical and emotional. And physically, one may be feeling more headaches. They may have problems with their digestive system right now, a change in their eating or sleep patterns. And then emotionally, it may present itself through anger or crying spells. Um, a lot of people have been saying that they're having a hard time concentrating right now, that their days seem off. You may find yourself feeling like you don't know what day of the week it is with the state that we're in.
So anger, sense of lostness, uh, digestive system, as you said, sleeping patterns, is that also a sign of stress with people that are not
Yes.
sleeping well inside?
Yes, trouble sleeping or sleeping more than usual. Also, inattention to your hygiene, that might be a sign something's going on if you're finding yourself not motivated to take a shower or to get dressed and just wanting to stay in your pajamas.
So in this season that we are, in this time that we're living in a country, what are some of the sources or triggers of stress that people may be experiencing during pandemic, COVID-19, everything that is going on in the country today? What are some sources of that?
Well, there are a lot of things right now that are triggering stress in individuals. First thing is just your concern about your health, or the health of your loved ones, or if you have children, worrying about how they're handling and adjusting to these times. A big one for a lot of people I talk with is change in employment. I think right now, for a lot of people are losing their jobs. If you're a business owner, you may have to be closing your business or struggling with how to keep it open. If you work for someone, your hours or your pay may have been cut. People are working from home while they're in the home with their families, and that can be challenging as well. Like going to the grocery store to get gas used to be just a no-brainer, but I think right now people are thinking before they go to the grocery and get gas. I've got to have my mask. I need to wear my gloves. What might I be exposed to when I get out? Also, I think that like this sense of uncertainty, where is all of this going on? How long is it going to look like this? Going forward, what's it going to look like as it starts changing and people start interacting again? And then this whole concept of social distancing. Humans like to interact and be together, and so socially distancing is challenging for all of us.
Yeah, one of the things that I was talking to a friend is about how, for me at least, how the disruption in the routine was a cause of stress for me. I had my routine. I was used to do this on Monday, on Tuesday, and Wednesday, and just that disruption, just that change in the regular routine for me, I felt that it caused some stress or some changes. And one of the things that's faster that I'm seeing a lot is not for people not having church, not having Sunday morning as the place that they worship. We're still having worship service. We're worshiping online now, but we don't have that sacred space anymore, that sacred place in the temple or in the sanctuary that we had. Do those things also can cause stress, or are you seeing some of this also?
Absolutely, Nelson. And I would encourage those who are struggling with this to create a new routine, create this new schedule, and be consistent with it. Church is a big part of my family's life, and it looks different now, but we are sticking with that routine. Instead of having Sunday school at the church at 10 a.m. on Sundays, we now have it at 10 a.m. in our living rooms, thanks to our church body who has continued to provide us with the lessons. That has been very helpful. So things that you're normally used to engaging in, and I would encourage you to find a new way to continue that in your life if it's possible, and think of what you can do to stay consistent to help with that normalcy, because that will help provide comfort.
So in a sense, creating a new routine.
Yes,
Okay.
I feel firmly in that. I'm personally a schedule type. We operate on a schedule, and so I think that can really prove beneficial for someone who's stressed out if they have a routine that they can go through and know, okay, I'm going to go out for a walk now. It's 5 o'clock in the evening. I'm gonna go for a walk around the neighborhood and just breathe in some fresh air.
So, and what are some other things that people can do to create this sense of routine, or what are some, because right now there are a lot of people that have started going back to a normal schedule, or a schedule that they had before the restriction came in place. But there are a lot of people that, because of their employment, or because of lack of employment, because they are retired maybe, and don't have that same need to get out of the house. So they're staying in the house. How can those people create a new schedule, a new sense of normal? What are some of the things that they can do?
Okay, well, first of all, for those that are in their home, but they may not be able to get out and go for a walk, they physically are unable to do that, I encourage them just to get outside of the house and maybe sit in their backyard, or sit on their front porch. You don't necessarily have to be physical in getting outside the confinement of your walls. Simply just sitting outside can really help an individual. Or, they may even want to have breakfast in the morning outside, or something just to get them outside of their walls. For individuals who are working at home, I think it's important to take breaks. Like if you're sitting at your computer in your house all day, day, I think that you need to give your mind a break, a rest, and get up and step outside could be beneficial, and give yourself a 15-minute break and then come back and get back at
Oh,
it.
yeah. One of the things that I'm realizing is that getting access to the news or about again what is going on in the country or news about the number of deaths, that for me brings a huge weight. So sometimes I have to take a break from news or from social media and just have a time to reflect or to meditate, read scripture. Prayer for me are great spiritual practices that help me to get this break and just breathe in and go back to my work schedule or to whatever I was doing before.
Yes, and you just spoke about social media and the coverage of all of this. I think that it's very important for all of us to stay up with current events and know what's going on, but be mindful of how much of it we're taking in, because that can be another trigger of stress if you find yourself watching it too much.
So, and one of the things for me is that I have a young daughter. My daughter is 4 years old, and sometimes when I'm watching the news or when I'm talking to my wife about this, I sense that she's also being affected by it in some way. She's still not
Absolutely.
voicing this out. She's not articulating how she's feeling, but I'm noticing some changes in her behavior and in her world. So our children also being affected by
Absolutely.
this? Are children also affected by stress? And if so, how? What are some of the signs?
Um, Stress may present itself the same way in children as it does in adults, but some things that you may find with your daughter, you may find feeling as though she's regressed in her age a little bit, or being extra clingy with all this uncertainty, needing that extra comfort from her
Hmm.
parents. Those who live in a home that have multiple children, you may find that your children are arguing with one another more, or maybe having conflict with you, their caregiver, more. It may present itself in temper outburst, or crying, as we talked about with adults. Um, Children may have headaches, stomach
Hmm.
aches, change in their sleep patterns. You may see a lot of the same things with children that you see in adults, because they are going through it just like we are.
Oh, okay. And so, in some, what are some things that I or we as parents can do to help our children deal with the stress that they're feeling or with the emotions that they're experiencing this time?
Well, a minute ago, you and I were discussing schedules and routines. It's important to make a schedule or a routine and stay consistent to help give your child some normalcy during this time. Also, encourage your children to get outside, get some fresh air, play. They may enjoy reading or arts and crafts. Try as you can to help them stay connected with their friends. I know we have attended some Zoom birthday parties during this time. Also, you and I were discussing church on Sundays.
Hmm.
You know, these are just examples. It will be each individual, it will look different for, but just some things that your children enjoy. Try to
Hmm.
schedule that into their day and have a routine. Also, this coverage is on the TV. Your children are going to walk through a room and hear it. So be mindful of that. Limit, just like we need to limit our intake, and we need to
Hmm.
limit their intake, and be honest with them. And when you're discussing it with them, speak age appropriate. If you've got a 4-year-old, you're going to talk about this differently than you would with a 12-year-old. You're going to speak differently with your 12-year-old than if you have a child that's 21.
Mm-hmm.
So be mindful of their age, where they are in development, and how they may be processing all of this, and try to communicate in a way that they may understand. Be
Oh, that's good.
calm too. Be calm when you're talking. If you're calm, that will help calm them.
Yeah, and I think that for me, that's been part of what I'm trying to do with Sophia, not speak to her in a moment that I'm feeling stress or anxiety about what's going on, or I try to set a time, or when I have to go to the grocery store and she asks me if she can go with me, say, no, sweetie, remember we talked about how there are people getting sick, how we're trying to protect you in this time, so that's why we don't want you to get out of the house. So for me, finding a time that is appropriate for me when I'm feeling well enough to talk to her has been helpful, has helped me to find the right words to explain to her in a way that she'll understand.
Yeah, because if you're tense, she's gonna be able to tell that you are, and that's gonna affect her. So if you can remain calm when you're speaking with your children, then that's gonna calm them down as well. And if things are like getting tense, if all else fails, I feel like fresh air. Go for a walk together. Just chill out, and walk and take a look at nature, and just try to get your mind in a peaceful place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Another thing that we talked before, Summer, was about the 3 A's, the principles of mental health and first aid. Can you talk to us a little about this?
It discusses to be aware, your attitude, and your action. Awareness simply means be aware of what's going on inside of yourself. Be in touch with yourself. Don't ignore it. And then those that are around you, if you sense something's different, don't ignore it. And as far as your attitude with approaching that individual, you want to come across genuine, empathetic, respectful, and caring with the individual. And then action is taking action to get the appropriate help or support system, and providing some realistic comfort and attention to the situation.
So awareness is the first A.
Yes, to be mindful. Yeah.
Okay. And
Yeah,
the second way,
awareness.
can you help me? Awareness, and then
Attitude, your
attitude.
attitude towards, if you're experiencing someone be mindful of your attitude and how you interact with them concerning this. You want to be genuine. Don't be phony,
Yeah.
be genuine and show the individual respect and care and concern.
And the third A
Is action. Take action. Link yourself or others to a support system, and help get the appropriate help.
Okay, so awareness, attitude, and action.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So for many people right now, work looks different, and some may be working from home, others may be working in public while trying to social distance. So do you have any tips for those working during this time?
Yes. Be honest with yourself and others, and stay connected, and take breaks, as we discussed before. Allow yourself some time to breathe. And if you have found some coping mechanisms that are working for you, some like we've discussed, going for walks, it looks different for everyone. If you found something that's really been beneficial to you during this time, share it with your colleagues or your family or friends, and with help them as well. Don't be afraid to talk about it, because you discussing it can really help someone. And don't be afraid to ask for help. If you're struggling and you need to speak with someone, don't be afraid to say it and to get that help.
Yeah, one of the things that I'm really grateful is for friends who have been checking on me. This past well for this period, especially this past couple of weeks, just calling me or texting me and ask how I'm doing, and so it's been good to me to be in touch with some of my friends, and I'm also trying to be mindful and getting action and put in action this plan of calling some people, texting some people, just to have that, as you said before, this human contact, this human touch, and being with people, and the ability to be able to vent out sometimes and just say, hey, today I'm having a great day, or sometimes, hey, I'm not having a good day today, I'm not well. So having this chance to talk to people has been great for me. Another thing that I really wanted to ask you is about professional help. I know that for some people this is a taboo when we talk about getting counseling or talking to a professional. Some people say, "Well, that's just for crazy people," or whatever other ways that they express this out. Can you speak some about this, about looking for professional help, and when should we give this step? When should we look for professional help?
Well, luckily, I feel like the stigma to seeking professional help is lowering, and people are becoming more open with their dialogue concerning mental health. And I personally feel passionately about helping others. That's why I'm in the program, so that I can become trained and have the skill set to help individuals that are experiencing stress in their times of need, because it can really make a difference with people. If you feel that you need help, there are resources available to you right now. If it's an emergency, call 911. If it's not an emergency and you feel as though you just need to speak with someone, I know they can reach out to you and you can help point them in directions. They can reach out to me. I can help give names of professionals or of organizations or private practices that they may speak with during this time. The main thing I would like to say in this conversation for those who are watching this is that you are not alone. This pandemic has affected everyone in this entire world. So all of our schedules have changed, and we're all human and we're all affected by it, and it is okay. And there are resources and there are people who would be happy to talk with you and help you, your church body, professional counselors, and like I said, then there are facilities and organizations too that provide services for individuals.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Summer, for taking the time to have this conversation with me, with us, with our friends. As you said, yeah, Pastor Eric and I, every Sunday, we tell people that if you need to talk to someone, reach out to us. We're here. We want to hear you, want to talk to you. If it's something that we want to pray with you, just listen
Yeah.
to you. If you need help, and we also can direct you to specialized help. If you need professional help, we can direct you to it. In summer, if people have more questions, is there a way that they contact you personally, that you can give maybe some other resources? How can people
Yes.
contact you if they have maybe more questions or looking for resources?
They can contact me through email. Much of what we discussed today was adapted from the Red Cross, and I have information on these topics that we discussed that was provided through the Red Cross that I got through my program at school that I would be happy to share with everyone. It is meant to help us. So we can share, Nelson, you can share that as well. If someone needs just to help with connecting, getting in touch with the right kind of care, I would be happy to listen and help connect that individual to a support system. An email would be the best way, so we can provide my email.
Okay. So Summer, and what is your email?
It is swgmoon, is swgmoon1@gmail.com.
Oh, thank you. Again, Summer, thank you very much for having this conversation with us. Thank you very much for being available. And as always, for those of you friends who are watching this, if you need help, if you're feeling stressed, if you're feeling that it's getting overwhelmed, use the tips that Summer gave to us and reach out to me, to Pastor Eric, to Summer, to some of your friends. Ask for help. You don't have to go through this alone. You are not alone. We're all experiencing changes and transitions and stress. So it is okay to say that you are not okay. Thank you very much. I'll talk to you later. Bye.